to tonight's evening broadcast on Channel 5 News. As of today, June 5th, 1989, protests at the Tiananmen Square have turned violent in the days past, and massacres have been affecting protesters as well as civilians.
The demonstrations in Tiananmen Square have been described as the greatest challenge to the communist state in China since the 1949 revolution. Our reporter Nicolina is live in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, speaking to witnesses at the violent scene.
Hi, Haley and Lindsay. I'm here live at Tiananmen Square, where a peaceful protest has turned deadly with many massacres starting yesterday. Tired of having no voice in their government, hundreds of thousands of Chinese students gathered in peaceful protests against their government's policies and called for democracy. It has been suggested that the communist leader Deng Xiaoping personally ordered their deployment as a way of showing up his leadership. Hundreds and possibly thousands of people were killed in the massacre, although it is unlikely a precise number will ever be known. Here with me is a student who has participated in the protest at Tiananmen Square and whom has been severely injured. Hello there. Can you tell me your name?
Hi, my name is Jim.
Can you tell me a little about what you witnessed firsthand at the protest?
Sure, I was here protesting with other students for political freedom and democracy when 100,000 soldiers came here and demanded us to leave, or we would be forcibly removed from the premises. Some left, but some stayed. The tanks came and sprayed gunfire into the crowds of students.
What about the statue the soldiers knocked down?
To keep our hopes high, we built a 33-foot tall statue and named it for the goddess of the democracy. But unfortunately, it was destroyed in the rampage brought about by the Chinese soldiers.
Okay, thank you so much for your insight into this horrific event. Here with me now is one of the Chinese soldiers who was involved in the massacre. Hi, can you tell me your name and tell us your view of the situation?
Sure, I'm Soldier Yi. As a Chinese soldier, our training deals with a lot of physical pain, and we are taught to obey our higher authorities and open on command. We honestly didn't want it to end up like this, but so many protesters not responding to our warnings, we had to use excessive force and had to remove the protesters not just in the square but in the streets in Beijing.
Thank you so much for your insight. We now have more news about the massacre. Thankfully, one of our reporters was there at the massacre and shot footage of the horrific event. Roll now.
The noise of gunfire rose from all over the center of Peking. It was unremitting. On the streets leading down to the main road to Tiananmen Square, furious people stared in disbelief at the glow in the sky, listening to the sound of shots. Heading down the road was a hazardous business, but hundreds of people cheered as buses were set alight and army trucks caught fire too. They yelled and shouted, and then as troop lorries were seen moving down the road, there was gunfire from those lorries.
Troops have been firing indiscriminately, but still, there are thousands of people on the streets who will not move back.
The bicycle rickshaws scooped up the injured. Others were shunted onto bikes and pedaled to hospital. Many were carried away by frantic local residents. There was confusion and despair among those who could hardly credit that their own army was firing wildly at them. Many were bystanders, perhaps naive about the savagery of the situation. Indeed, it was hard at times to grasp that this army was launching into an unarmed civilian population as if charging into battle. From Tiananmen Square, the sound of gunfire sounded like a battle, but it was one-sided. A line of soldiers was strung out facing a huge crowd. The air was filled with shouts of "Fascists! Stop killing!" We were in the line facing the troops. They were about 250 yards away. Young people were singing the Internationale to a background of gunfire.
After hours of shooting and facing a line of troops, the crowd is still here. They're shouting, "Stop the killing and down with the government."
A huge volley of shots just as I left the front line caused panic. The young man in front of me fell dead. I fell over him. 2 others were killed yards away. 2 more people lay wounded on the ground near me. Ambulances screamed up to the troop line and were turned away. They couldn't get to the square. 2 ambulance drivers were shot and injured.
This video is a helpful source in showing the world what actually happened during the massacre at Tiananmen Square. Now back to you at the studio.
Thank you, Nicolina, for those first-hand stories of the massacre of Tiananmen Square. Sources tell us that over 1,400 civilians were killed during this event, and protesters desire political freedom as well as Deng's retirement from Chinese rule. However, Deng refused to step down as leader of China.
Our resources predict that this event will not be followed by a peaceful outcome. They feel that the Chinese government will not take lightly to this protest and do everything they can to regain control. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's newscast on Channel 5 and have a good night.
That 14,000 civilians were killed in this event, and Deng declared martial instead of democratic.
Lindsay!
Wait. Wait. Get out!
Hey, you're so cute. Yeah, yeah. You're so funny. Hey.
That was so ugly.
What?
You're the one with the mustache. Okay, thank you so much for your insight into this first. I'm still thinking about your face.
That's not stupid!
Okay, thank you so much for your insight into this horrific event. Here with me now is one of the Chinese soldiers who is involved in the massacre.
Wait, I can't.
Involved in the massacre. Hi, can you tell me your name and tell us your view of the situation?
No, I can't.
You have to do it! I'm finally not laughing! Hi, can you tell me your name and tell us your view of the situation?
Rush it!
Not responding to our warnings, we had to use a sex.
Any soldiers who is involved in the massacre. Name?
Hi, my name is Jane.
Tiananmen Square, and whom has been
All over your face. Okay, wait, I need to fix this one. Okay, now you need a goatee. Oh my god. Look up.